Alrighty, so here we are, and your task for today is basically you are going to be working on a hyperdoc, and you're going to be investigating a set of slave narratives. So yesterday we started looking at some quoted lines from slave narratives, right? Well, that's why we were doing that, is to get ready for this assignment. We are going to be ultimately writing an essay, so today and tomorrow our job is to try to gather evidence in that pink slave narratives evidence grid. Mine is white because it's the original. You're going to get a pink copy in just a moment. All right? So we're watching this video real quick to get an idea as to what the assignment's all about. You get your evidence gathering sheet, you open up your hyperdoc, and you go. All right? And your goal today is to complete 2 of these sources, so 2 rows on this grid, and show me on the hyperdoc through your comments that you have completed 2. So let's take a look at your hyperdoc. All right, so what you have here is you have Equiano over here. We took a look at one of his as a class yesterday. You have Solomon Northrop over here describing the cotton plantations. You have Harriet Jacobs right here, and she's describing the abuse from her master. This is for the honors option. If you want to do this, watch maybe 10 to 15 minutes of it and then end it there, and then write your comment about the truths that you see in this. Just show me, prove to me that you did really watch it, all right? And then over here, you have Venture Smith, who is another slave who is describing the Middle Passage and his new life at the plantation. Last choice is Solomon Northrop again, and in this part of his book, he is describing a slave market or an auction, all right? Your focus question is right here in the middle, same as yesterday, right? What are some important truths slave narratives reveal about the institution of slavery in America? All right? So your job here, you choose which one you want to watch or view. In total, you're going to be doing 3. All right? And then you're going to use the fill tool to color in any boxes that you have completed. You're going to take notes on your handout here. For each source that you have read or viewed, you are then going to use the comment button to answer. Like for example, if I'm choosing this one by Solomon Northrop first, what I'm going to do is first I'm going to navigate out to the source. I'm going to go take a look. So I click on the link. I open up this doc. You get the brief description or bio on Solomon Northrop there. And then you've got your text right here to go ahead and read, right? Now, as you're reading, what you want to do is you want to be writing probably about 4 to 5 pieces of evidence down here, okay? So in your grid, that would be right in this box right here, okay? 4 to 5 quoted lines that you're going to take from there. On the side here, I would write Solomon Northrop, and I would write slave auction, right? Or slave market. And then up here, I would write Solomon Northrop slave market or Northrop slave market, okay, to show which one I'm doing first. So once I'm done getting my evidence here on the grid, I'm going to go over here to this part and I'm going to say, what does the evidence show or suggest? And then finally, once I've done all of this thinking over in here, I'm going to do some thinking on what truths are revealed. And we want to dig deeper than say, oh, well, slavery was horrible. Yes, we know that, okay? But what do these slave narratives really reveal? Like, what is something that maybe a lot of people don't know about slavery that these narratives really shed some light on? All right? So that's going to be your job. Now, back here for a second. All right? So after I have finished reading the source and I've taken my notes, I'm going to go up here to the fill tool. I'm going to make sure to fill this box to show, yes, this is the one that I did. And then I'm also going to select right there, and I'm going to press this plus sign so that I can make a comment. Now in my comment, I have to make sure to answer this question. So how does this source help you to answer the focus question? So I want to be specific and use the title of the source, right? So I might say, some of the truths in Solomon Northrop's narrative excerpt on the slave market are, and then I want to try to be fairly specific and kind of prove that I read, but then also say what does this really teach us? What are some truths about slavery that this reveals? Once you're done with your comment, make sure to hit the comment button so that it sticks. That's important. You don't want your stuff to get lost. And then you move on to choose your next one. Now let's say if I chose Harriet Jacob next, something that's unique about the Harriet Jacob one, and there's a couple others too that have this feature, I could watch the read-along video if I wanted to. Now these are very similar to what I made for you guys with chapters 10 and 11. So you could choose to watch on here as I'm reading it aloud to you. You'll need headphones. Okay, so you don't want to disturb your neighbor, so get some headphones if you can. Use yours if you have them.
This is by Harriet Jacobs, and it was written around 1860. And
okay, so as you can see here, just scrolling through, on this video, I'm reading it aloud, scrolling through, I'm making down some notes for you so that this may help you to understand it a little better, so then you can pull the evidence that you really need for your grid. There's no harm in using this. If it's helpful to you, please do. That's why I made them, all right? So each one of these is about 11 minutes long, so really it shouldn't take you too long to get what you need, all right? So that's an option for you. Harriet Jacobs has a read-along. Olada Equiano has a read-along. And then this one from Venture Smith also has a read-along. I didn't make them for Solomon Northrop because I felt like you guys were fairly familiar with him already, having looked at this one already with the cotton stations. All right, so don't forget, in the end, if you didn't quite finish 2 sources today, all right, so if you're not done filling in 2 of these rows here, basically the front side of this page, and if you haven't finished your 2 comments on your HyperDoc and filled those 2 boxes for 2 sources, you want to make sure that tomorrow when you walk in, those things are complete. You should have plenty of time in class. All right, best of luck.